Hello everyone, it's me, GFish17 here, and I've been taking some time to think about what I want to post. And, well, I decided to talk about politics. In this case, it's a case for or against Bloomberg. I'm not going to say I'm morally too much better than that guy, but I can say this. I accept people regardless of the color of their skin or who they're attracted to or what gender they happen to be. That being said, if I could buy my way into office, I would. I just wouldn't have certain viewpoints. But I know someone who can make a case for or against Mike Bloomberg better than anybody ever could do it. You know who that person is? Anyone who's ever watched the movie Zootopia and has ever heard a phrase of what a hustle is knows where this is going. Let me introduce you to the reason you should consider your vote about Mike Bloomberg. The man himself.
No question that low interest rates have exacerbated the wealth gap between the poor and the rich, because the rich have assets, and that's what's being hyped here because of low interest rates, whether they own stock, real estate, or whatever the case may be. And long term, that's a very big problem for this country. And you don't solve the problem, as the populists would argue, by taking things away from the rich. You solve the problem by giving opportunity to everybody and by creating jobs. And some of these things, I think, some of the policies are misguided. I, for example, am not in favor, have never been in favor of raising the minimum wage. I think you should raise the income tax credit, which does the same thing for the same people, but it spreads the burden across all the taxpayers rather than just a small number of business people whose inclination would be to cut back income tax.
As an adult, you see that there is a whole bunch of inclusivity. Mike is so incredibly sensitive to this issue.
If your conversation during a presidential election is about some guy wearing a dress and whether he, she, or it can go to the locker room with their daughter, that's not a winning formula for most people. They care about health care, they care about education, they care about safety and all of those kinds of things. If you want to know, is somebody a good salesman, give them the job of going to the Midwest and picking a town and selling to that town the concept that some man wearing a dress should be in the locker room with their daughter. If you can sell that, you can sell anything. I mean, they just look at you and they say, what on earth are you talking about? We want our police to both protect us, protect our civil rights, but also keep crime down and find out where the bad guys are. We have the lowest crime rate we've ever had in the history of the city, and that's particularly important to Black and Latino kids and their families and their neighborhoods, because that's where the crime is.
The reason police officers make stops in Brownsville and East New York is not because of race, it is because of crime.
In New York City, some don't have the courage to stand up to special interests on the left and support common sense policing tactics like stop and frisk. We don't need extremists on the left or the right running our police department, whether it's the NRA or the NYCLU. Stops are made based on descriptions of suspects and suspicious activity only. And the sad reality is, on the streets of our city, 90% of murder suspects and murder victims are Black and Latino.
They just keep saying, oh, it's a disproportionate percentage of a particular ethnic group. That may be, but it's not a disproportionate percentage of those who witnesses and victims describe as committing the murder. In that case, incidentally, I think we disproportionately stop whites too much and minorities too little.
Yeah, that's the case. That's his case for why you should vote for him. So tell me, what did you think about that case? It's kind of like shooting yourself in the foot, but without knowing you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot in the future. Yeah. Well, consider who you're voting for when you think about your future. because Mike sucks. He's just awful. Vote Bernie, people. Feel the burn. And make sure, donate to Bernie Sanders' campaign. Please. Feel the burn, folks.